Guys, today I'm going to be reviewing the book The King's Curse by Philippa Gregory. Now, before I start this book review, someone suggested that I do a video without my glasses on, and I just decided to do it. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine. Sorry, I had to fix the camera there. That's fine, and I just want to let you know, I don't know if I'll get any comments about it. I probably won't, but I just want to tell you, my eyes aren't shut. Like, they're not shut. I'm looking straight into a camera right now. I'm looking straight into the camera right now. But I've had surgery on my eyes, and that's why they look shut. So, just letting you guys know. Now, The King's Curse is the story about, it's by Philippa Gregory, and it's the story about Margaret Pole, formerly Margaret Plantagenet, and she is living, she's living at a time, she's living during the Tudor period, part of the Plantagenet period and part of the Tudor period, and she is, the book starts off, Henry Tudor is on the throne, and she is part of the Plantagenet royal family who should be the rightful kings of England, but the Tudors, they won at the Battle of Bosworth, and Henry Tudor, the first Henry Tudor, basically picked his crown up off the battlefield. He won against Richard III, and that is how he got his crown. So, a lot of people do not think he is king. They think that the Plantagenets should still be on the throne. And Henry VII is very, because of that, Henry VII is very insecure on his throne. He doesn't feel secure. And the Plantagenets are in a fear that Henry VIII is going to hurt them or do something to them. But Margaret Pole, formerly Margaret Plantagenet, she gets to kind of escape that fate. She marries Sir Richard Pole. So she basically goes from being a sort of princess in her own right to a nobody, a commoner, and she gets to escape that. And there's stuff that happens during the time, during this time period. The book starts when she's 27, and it ends at her death. And she still is very fearful because of Henry VII, and she doesn't know what he's going to do. But then, later on, Henry VIII takes the throne after the death of his father, and it's just a new beginning. He wants to start over and make this Camelot, and Margaret becomes, she's at the place where she is supposed to be. She's allowed at court, and she is a lady-in-waiting to Queen Catherine, and continues to be lady-in-waiting throughout her life to some of the other wives of Henry VIII. This was not my favorite book in the series, and I've watched a lot of book reviews that say that they believe that as well. It felt like Philippa Gregory combined many of her books to make this book. A lot of the events that happen in this book have happened in books that she read previously. For example, it takes part of the White Princess, the my gosh, what's that called? The Constant Princess, the other Boleyn girl, and the Boleyn Inheritance. It's pretty much all those books, give or take a few events, in that particular book. So those are books that had previously come out before this one. So if you've read all that, you kind of know what happens. And also Margaret Pole, she was not a big figure in, she had her name, but she didn't really do much. She wasn't a queen or any of that, so she didn't really do much. Her sons did. Her sons made it high, but she was just kind of a bystander. And I don't think she deserved her own book, and I would have loved to see a book about Marguerite d'Anjou during the early days of the Wars of the Roses. Marguerite d'Anjou basically ruled when her husband could not, and that was a big thing, a woman ruling at that time, that was, she was known as the she-wolf. I think the she-wolf, I believe. And I believe that's what Shakespeare calls her in his plays. And I would have loved to see that, because she was really a big part of the Wars of the Roses. But Margaret Pole, during the time period that this is set, didn't really do much. She just didn't. That's one reason it's not my favorite. But there are some things that I liked about the book. I really thought it was interesting, and I thought about this as I was listening to this for the second time. I'd read it previously, and I just finished it. I really liked that you got to see the change in Henry VIII through another person's eyes. And I thought that was really interesting, because Henry VIII started as this golden child. He was known as the handsomest prince in Christendom, and he was this Renaissance man, and he became a tyrant. I believe there might have been some mental illness or something. He had a couple of falls, but he did become a tyrant, and Margaret Pole saw that. And because she basically grew up with him, or not grew up, but basically saw him grow, and she sees this golden prince turn into a tyrant. And I just thought that was interesting, and I hadn't thought about that before. Overall, this book was not my favorite. I would have loved to see a book about Marguerite d'Anjou instead, but I seriously don't think that is coming. I think that this was the last in her cousin's war series. So, this just wasn't my favorite. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like the one book I read, The Last Empress, the novel, but it was not my favorite in her series. Now, before I go, first of all, I want to know what you guys thought about the book if you've read it before. And let me know if you had the same feelings. And also, I posted a book review, not a book review, a video last time, I think a few days ago, and asking you guys to choose which next print book I will read about the Romanovs. I have 3 books about the Romanovs that I have not read, and I want you guys to choose that book. Excuse me. And I explain what the book is about, what the books are about, and I really want you guys to vote, and I really want to have that interaction with you guys. So please vote. I'm finishing a book on veganism, and I will review that. And then the next book I'll read is one that you guys choose. So I really want you guys to choose a book for me to review, because I love talking to you guys and hearing you guys' input. So that's all for me. I will see you around for another book review. Bye.